Nikola Tesla. 42 quotes about human nature. We all make mistakes, and it is better to make them before we begin. Of all the frictional resistances, the one that most retards human movement is ignorance, what Buddha called the greatest evil in the world. Misunderstandings are always caused by the inability of appreciating one another's point of view. Our virtues and our failings are inseparable, like force and matter. When they separate, man is no more. If your hate could be turned into electricity, it would light up the whole world. I am unwilling to accord to some small-minded and jealous individuals the satisfaction of having thwarted my efforts. These men are to me nothing more than microbes of a nasty disease. One may feel a sudden wave of sadness and rake his brain for an explanation, when he might have noticed that it was caused by a cloud cutting off the rays of the sun. We crave for new sensations, but soon become indifferent to them. The wonders of yesterday are today common occurrences. It's not the love you make, it's the love you give. Love. I recognize the emotion for what it is, an irrational self-destructive impulse, which is disguised as joy. It is not in the shallow physical imitation of men that women will assert first their equality and later their superiority, but in the awakening of the intellect of women. Woman will ignore precedent and startle civilization with their progress. Most persons are so absorbed in the contemplation of the outside world that they are wholly oblivious to what is passing on within themselves. The by far greater number of human beings are never aware of what is passing around and within them. When natural inclination develops into a passionate desire, one advances towards his goal in 7-league boots. One's salvation could only be brought about through his own efforts. Our first endeavors are purely instinctive prompting of an imagination, vivid and undisciplined. As we grow older, reason asserts itself, and we become more and more systematic in designing. But those early impulses, though not immediately productive, are of the greatest moment, and may shape our very destinies. Nothing enters our minds, or determines our actions, which is not, directly or indirectly, a response to stimuli beating upon our sense organs from without. Our entire biological system, the brain, and the earth itself, work on the same frequencies. There is no memory or retentive faculty based on lasting impression. What we designate as memory is but increased responsiveness to repeated stimuli. We are just waves in time and space, changing continuously, and the illusion of individuality is produced through the concatenation of the rapidly succeeding phases of existence. Every living being is an engine geared to the wheelwork of the universe. Though seemingly affected only by its immediate surrounding, the sphere of external influence extends to infinite distance. The human being is a self-propelled automaton, entirely under the control of external influences. Willful and predetermined though they appear, his actions are governed not from within, but from without. He is like a float tossed about by the waves of a turbulent sea. Though we may never be able to comprehend human life, we know certainly that it is a movement, of whatever nature it be. Our senses enable us to perceive only a minute portion of the outside world. Everyone should consider his body as a priceless gift from one whom he loves above all, a marvelous work of art, of indescribable beauty and mystery beyond human conception, and so delicate that a word, a breath, a look, nay, a thought may injure it. The beauty and the scent of roses can be used as a medicine, and the sun rays as a food. There is something within me that might be illusion, as it is often case with young delighted people. Man, like the universe, is a machine. What we call soul or spirit is nothing more than the sum of the functionings of the body. When this functioning ceases, the soul or the spirit ceases likewise. Of all the endless variety of phenomena which nature presents to our senses, there is none that fills our mind with greater wonder than that inconceivably complex movement which we designate as human life. Life is, and will ever remain, an equation incapable of solution, but it contains certain known factors. I could only achieve success in my life through self-discipline, and I applied it until my wish and my will became one. I began to discipline myself. At first it called for a vigorous mental effort, directed against disposition and desire, but as years went by, the conflict lessened, and finally my will and wish became identical. I began to practice self-control. At first my resolutions faded like snow in April, but in a little while I conquered my weakness, and felt a pleasure I never knew before, that of doing as I willed. Man cannot be saved from his own foolishness or vice by someone else's efforts or protests, but only by the use of his own will. My belief is firm in a law of compensation. The true rewards are ever in proportion to the labor and sacrifices made. From childhood, I was compelled to concentrate attention upon myself. This caused me much suffering, but to my present view, it was a blessing in disguise, for it has taught me to appreciate the inestimable value of introspection. The pressure of occupation, and the incessant stream of impressions, pouring into our consciousness, through all the gateways of knowledge, make modern existence hazardous in many ways. Every effort under compulsion demands a sacrifice of energy. As I review the events of my past life, I realize how subtle are the influences that shape our destinies. The last 29 days of the month are the toughest. Thank you for watching and for supporting us.